Hi, my name is Jürgen Haaland. Hi, in this tutorial I will present how I create the movement of a sea monster, the process, some render settings and principles. This monster scene is the fourth I did, so most of the parts was ready to use. For the character design, see this tutorial. After a while, I was happy with the movement and I did the first export. So this is how it looked then. To do renders like this, I use viewport render for quick renders. I add the FXAA anti-aliasing. In the filter, I turned off almost everything, but I need to see polygon splines environment in here. For the render settings, I use tokens that automatically adds day, time, minutes and seconds. So I didn't need to think about the file names. I use a simple MP4, so everything is rendered quite fast and I can just send it to my director. In this part I also had animated the mouth, so it needed to look really scary on the crescendo. This is the first version I sent to the director. We had a simple chat where we communicated back and forth on different parts of the scene. Here's the first version where I had tracked the camera, but something was way off. Tracking is still off and I tried to also change the camera position. The director wanted to have the face a bit closer and I also wanted it to break the frame, so it felt larger in the scene. I managed to track the whole scene in the wrong frame rate. Here in Norway we used 25 frames and it was on standard settings for 30 frames. That's why the tracking didn't work that well. I have a quick Cinema 4D tutorial on tracking that you can see here. The monster is now glued to the track, but the camera was way too close. I changed the camera position. Here I worked on the eye movement. The eye movement has to be rapid. If you see this clip here, you can see that, and this is how you are supposed to animate eyes. The movements are really quick and sharp. Now I'm testing with all the body junk. Here I'm close to the finished animation. For this monster I made an eye rig. And this eye rig, I made a short presentation about it here. Here I rendered with all the moving parts. I forgot to add a blend delay that smoothed the movements in the body. This is the second version my client got to see. Here you can see all the extra parts that adds secondary motion. And here's also some raw renders just straight from Arnold. I did some tweaking on the main animation. I needed more anticipation before the mouth is opening. My wife was the one that pointed this out, so thank you. Here's the finished sequence. I always do a viewport test before render, because since this was about a 16-hour render, it would be really bad if something was not working right. If I had done this sequence all over again, I would not use hair as secondary motion on the head, because the hair is going in and out of the shape, even though I've added collisions. Hair is great for many things, but for this it wasn't precise enough. So this is the raw render before composition. And this is the scene I delivered to the edit. The sequence is longer than it needed to. It's never easy to know how many frames you really need. It's then better to over-deliver than under-deliver. so it's more to work with in the edit. This is the Arnold render settings I used. It's really simple. I used two AA samples, and I use Eugen denoiser. If you need to, it can denoise the AOVs. You just have to write OR between the different names. OR is the same as a comma, if you're thinking about this as a tag. The settings are simple and mostly standard settings. Just two AA samples. And I use Cryptomatte. It's a lifesaver. Even though I don't really know everything about it, it saves so many things in post. Other AOVs I used, it's the normals, position and depth map. They can also be really handy to get across more of the size of the monster. We wanted the main character to be in the scene. Since the shot was 1 year ago, we didn't have really an over-the-shoulder shot. So we had to go through the clip and see if we found a fitting frame. Luckily, I found this. So here's the final delivery. If there's any questions, just contact me or comment below. Thank you for checking out the video.